Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a problem that pretty much every company runs into. All their valuable data gets trapped in this chaotic, messy swamp. We're going to explore how to turn that mess into a secure, organized, and honestly, a really powerful asset. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by really defining what this data swamp problem is all about. Then we'll introduce the solution, show you how it helps centralize your data, how it secures it, and then the really cool part, how it unlocks the power of analytics and AI.
All right, let's get right into it, starting with the challenge that everyone with a ton of data faces. You've heard all the hype about big data, right? But what about the dark side, the peril?
So organizations are just collecting this fire hose of data from everywhere imaginable. The big idea was to pour all of it, clean spreadsheets, messy text files, everything in between, into one central spot called a data lake. The dream was to sift through it and find gold. But what happens when you just let it all pile up without a plan?
Yeah, it turns into a data swamp. Instead of that beautiful, clean lake of opportunity, you end up with a murky, unusable mess. Your data's duplicated all over the place, it's not secure, nobody even knows what's in there, and trying to find anything useful is next to impossible. It goes from being an asset to a very expensive liability, where good ideas just sink to the bottom.
So how do you keep your valuable data lake from becoming that nightmare swamp? Well, let's talk about the solution that was designed for exactly this.
And that solution is AWS Lake Formation. You can think of it like the expert park ranger or groundskeeper for your data lake. It's a service that gives you all the tools you need to govern, secure, and share your data from one central place, making it ready for some really powerful analytics and machine learning.
Now, the most important part here is that it gives you a single place to manage everything. And why is that such a big deal? Well, without it, you're stuck trying to juggle security settings across a dozen different services, each with its own set of rules. It is a recipe for disaster. Lake Formation brings all of that chaos under one roof.
So let's look at the very first thing Lake Formation helps you do. Find and organize all your data, no matter how scattered it is. I mean, you can't really manage what you can't see, right?
The process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you just register your storage. Basically, you point Lake Formation to where your data lives. Then, you use these things called blueprints, which are like pre-built connectors, to easily pull in data from all your different databases and log files. Finally, special crawlers automatically scan all that data, figure out its structure, and put it all into a catalog.
And what you get is the foundation for this whole system. All those different data streams now feed into one single searchable catalog. This becomes your single source of truth so anyone in your organization can find the data they need no matter where it came from. This searchable catalog is absolutely key to good data governance.
Okay, so you've got all your data neatly cataloged in one place. The next huge question is, who gets to see what? And this is where Lake Formation's security model is really impressive. Let's use a super simple example. Imagine we've got this customer table. It has some general business info like region and revenue, but it also has that really sensitive stuff, personally identifiable information, or PII, like a phone number.
Lake Formation lets you set permissions from that one central spot, but at incredibly specific levels. You can give access to a whole database, just one table, or you can get super granular, down to specific columns, individual rows, or even a single cell of data.
This is what we call role-level security. So using our example, you could set up a rule that says anyone who's a US analyst can only see the rows where the region is US. They wouldn't even know the data from the EU exists.
And then there's column-level security. Your marketing team probably needs to see revenue and region, but they have absolutely no business seeing a customer's personal phone number. So you can give them access to the table, but completely block them from even seeing that PII data column. The sensitive info stays protected. But you might be thinking, how does this work when you have hundreds of tables? Managing rules one by one would be a nightmare. Well, this is where it gets really smart. You can use tags. You could, for instance, just tag any column with sensitive info as confidential. Then you make one single rule that says the marketing team is denied access to anything tagged confidential. It's a ridiculously powerful way to manage security at scale. So you've done all the hard work. You've built this clean, cataloged, and super secure data lake. What's the payoff? Well, this is where you actually get to put all that data to work. And the beauty of this whole system is that your teams can just use the tools they already know and love to work with this data. It doesn't matter if they're using Athena for quick queries or QuickSight to build dashboards. Those security rules you set up in Lake Formation are automatically enforced everywhere, every single time. No more data silos, no more security gaps.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter. The whole point isn't just to have tidy data. The real goal is to turn that raw data into a strategic asset, something that fuels smarter decisions, drives your business forward, and powers the next big innovations in AI and machine learning.
So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. Right now, is your organization's data a viable lake, or is it slowly turning into a murky swamp? Because at the end of the day, the difference isn't the data itself, it's the governance. Having a strong framework is what builds the bridge between just having data and actually using it to create real value.